Hello and welcome to Primetime Watchmaking in the News for the month of June and what to expect in July. This edition will be slightly shorter than usual edition as this month has been rather calm in terms of watchmaking activity. But you can count on us to bring you the essential. So let's start with this month's summary. So a very interesting product launch by Richard Mille, another one by HYT. What does the main show dedicated to suppliers of the watchmaking industry really tells us? And a little personal special, quite an amusing one. But let's immediately start with what will be our big adventure of July with our Watchmaking Roadtrip 2016, as our 6 participants are about to arrive in Geneva for what will be a fantastic 5-day journey in watchmaking territory. So we will be welcoming cool guys from the US, Canada, Italy, the UK, or whatever will remain of the UK after the Brexit vote, and Lebanon. They have no idea of the program that we put together for them. I want this to be a continuous surprise, but I can promise you that they will have a unique and incredible experience that we will naturally share with you. Starting in September, we will air each episode on a weekly basis, taking this watchmaking road trip almost till Christmas. But before this, you will be able to discover at the same time as our participants what has been planned for them. So please stay tuned to our various social media using the hashtag Watchmaking Roadtrip on our Twitter account, our Instagram and Facebook. We are so excited by this adventure and I really think that we will bring you an amazing and exclusive behind-the-scenes approach never ever seen before in this great industry. Watchmakers are great human beings like you and hopefully us, and to focus on the human dimension of watchmaking will for sure set a fantastic precedent that I hope will be able to reproduce in the future. So for those that kindly sent us their candidacy for this year's edition, well, first of all, thanks again, and hopefully there will be more chances to participate in this adventure in the future. So let's now talk about the product launch of the month, and as mentioned previously, June has been a bit weak in terms of novelties, so we will mainly concentrate on a new Richard Mille watch done in collaboration with street artist Cyril Congo and called the RM68-01. Tourbillon watch limited to 30 timepieces. Congo is mostly known for his graffitis, and to adapt his art that generally uses huge space as his canvas to something as small as a watch was quite a challenge. This project needed 1 year of trial and error to adjust his skills to this confined space, but the result is simply put really nice. Okay, I admit I've only seen it in picture, but personally I think that the result is not only original, but I like these splashes of colors that we're not used to see in watches. We also saw a new H2 Alinghi by HYT, but we will come back on this in a detailed report very soon as we just returned from Wales where we assisted an extreme sailing series event that will serve as the backdrop to this new timepiece presentation. So stay tuned. During June, we covered a very special fair held in Geneva dedicated to the many suppliers of the watchmaking industry. This one is called EPHJ, but its full name is actually the EPHJ, EPMT, SMT. Yes, I know it sounds a bit barbaric, but I won't go into details of this acronym. But the reason is that you will also find companies specialized in micro-machining and in the medical world, as there are clear links in terms of skills and technologies between the three. We've already published a report about a company that can now produce gold cogwheels, and we still have a few surprising and interesting videos that we will air throughout the summer about some cool ideas seen there. But just for the fun, here's a rather incredible example of a super precise machining, as what seems to be a single piece of metal turns out to be made out of several parts. It's just impossible to see with your own eyes before discovering the trick, but it really highlights what can be done with today's technology. And for the record, this was some kind of a fresh prototype, and the company that showed this to us tried to find another company on site that could actually measure the precision of this incredible piece, and no one could respond. Something else we saw from that same company is the next step in connected devices. We're naturally all seen smart watches, but now you can get prepared for connected jewelry. Okay, maybe just a gadget, but just shows an inevitable trend. But let's go back to mechanical watches we love, and especially the people behind them. So something quite interesting and inspiring that I felt in this fair is that in these troubled times for the watchmaking industry, and when some brands are still trying to pull the cover to themselves instead of showing a bit more solidarity, well, there is a huge sense of collaboration between these suppliers. Naturally, they can be competitors too, but there you could really feel that they know that they have to be strong together and find solutions and continue to innovate for the better of everyone. As I've always said, watchmaking is a result of a network of competencies. It's been historically like this, and without these suppliers and their very own expertise in super specialized skill sets, watchmaking as we know it today would not be the same. So glory to you, indispensable players of the industry. And now for something a bit more personal but quite amusing. I live in the center of Geneva and rent the same flat since 6 years. My homeowner started to annoy me recently for my name label found on the interphone system at the entrance, like it didn't follow house regulation, and wanted me to pay to fix a new one. Well, with the outrageous rent that I pay, this got me really annoyed, and I rarely become annoyed. I'm more on the Zen side type of guy. So anyhow, I shouted a bit and there was no way I would pay for it. So to make a long story short, they agreed to fix it themselves, but had to be there when it happened because on top of it, the interphone didn't work. Well, anyhow, the technical guy came along and took off my label and the previous one, and it was then that I discovered who was one of the previous tenants, and what a surprise when this label popped up. Yes! Gérald Jantat, the legendary watch designer behind Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak, Patek Philippe Nautilus, to name a few, and not to mention his own brand with the first complicated or even super complicated watches that had a bit of fun in them with Mickey Mouse and other Disney characters. So the eponymous brand still exists, but now belongs to Bulgari, so a lot less Mickey Mouses in them. And just to complete the story, I used to sublease another apartment just next to this one to a guy called Emmanuel Guette, another watch designer who was behind the revamp of the Royal Oak in the mid-late 90s, when AP introduced the Royal Oak offshore, you know, the big one. So I guess I might be a bit doomed with Royal Oaks, but that's just quite a fine feeling despite not yet owning any of them. So one day, maybe we'll see. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget to follow us next week for some sneak previews of our road trip on our various social medias. All the best to you and keep commenting what we do. We just love it. All the best. See you soon.